Alright guys, so suspension improvements today. Where are we at the moment? So as things stand at the moment, the car is wearing Kayaba Ultra SR dampers with springs, lowering springs from a company called MAD. I've looked on MAD website, I can't find springs for this car on it. The Octavia RS, the MK4 GTI, same spring. So I'm not sure how much they lower it by. So that's the suspension front. And the problem with this suspension is that it is bottoming out. It feels like it's banging into the top mounts. And when the car is loaded, there's also a bit of rubbing on the inner and outer fender. There's also a drive shaft to anti-roll bar issue. I'm not exactly sure when that is happening. So the solution, I think, well, what will improve it is to increase the ride height a little bit. Hopefully we'll increase the damper travel, so they'll give the dampers a better chance to work, and hopefully that stops the suspension from moving, well, from banging into the top mounts or running out of travel. And by raising it and by having more control over the wheel, it'll also stop the rubbing as well. So those are the three main problems that I'm hoping the H&R will solve. Next step in this video, we're going to start taking the car apart, take the old springs off, put the new springs back on, go for a drive and see what difference it's made. These are the springs that are going on the car. They are specific for the Octavia RS MK1. So that's how this is how H&R springs come in general. The springs are now on the car, the H&R springs. So what difference has it made? Has it made the differences that I thought it would make? Short answer, basically yeah. It's the problems before, where it would be bottoming out all the time. It felt like it had no suspension, basically, like it was resting on the bump stops. It seems to have been solved, really. It's not bumping into the bump stops anymore, so that is absolute definite result. And with regards to the rubbing, it hasn't rubbed like it was anyway, where you could audibly hear it, the tyres rubbing against the outer wheel arches. All in all, it's been a big success, the H&R springs. Why do I think they were a success? I think basically the other springs were just probably old. They've been on there for a long time. They were lowering springs to start with, and I think maybe the springs are just fatigued. They could have been like that from the day one, I don't know, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say when they were new they were great. Now I don't have to hold back on the road. Before I'd have to be a bit wary of bumps and what have you for the banging and the crunching and what have you, and the rubbing. But now it's fine. It's not completely fixed. It's not 100% fixed. There is still a bang. The suspension still does bang a little bit over sharp holes in the road, or like decent steps in the road. So that is still happening. But you know, it takes something pretty extreme to do it now, whereas before it would just be all the time. Left and right stability, the car does roll a little bit less as well. And I can feel the suspension working over the bumps, whereas before I didn't really get that feeling that, you know, the wheels were moving over the bumps. So yeah, big success. I was originally thinking that I was going to do the top mounts, but they look like they've got a bit of life left in them. And plus I'm not getting any banging from the top for them now. With the wishbones, they are a bit torn at the back, and there is a bit of knocking coming through the steering wheel occasionally over bumps, so maybe that could be the ball joints. So at the moment I'm a bit torn. Do I get the wishbones for it now, or do I wait a while? What it has done though, it's led on to probably part 3 of this video. Because I don't have to hold back now going down the road, I can just drive normally. There's another issue that's come to light, and originally I thought that was the tyre spinning. But I've had a chance now to get it into 5th and give it some gas into 5th, and the revs are flaring. So I think what I might have thought was a tyre spin before, in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, I think it might actually be the clutch slipping, which is not something I was planning for. When I test drove the car, we went relatively slow speeds, and again, I did see slipping, but I thought it was the tyres. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's a VR6 clutch, so it's not going to be too expensive to fix, and that will hold the power. So that is going to be part 3. I think that is another big priority now, because the clutch does hold the car back quite a lot. If you've had experience with this, let me know, but the thing that makes me think it's definitely clutch rather than tyre spin is that because it does it in 5th gear, I mean, the revs will just flare in 5th gear. It takes a pretty powerful engine, i.e. much more than 300 brake, to spin the tyres up easily in 5th gear. That is not something I'm going to be changing myself, so that's going to be a garage job. And seeing as they're going to have the front of the car apart, I think I may as well, at the moment, this is a thought that's going through my mind, I may as well just change the clutch, the wishbones while I'm there, since they're going to have to take half them apart anyway. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. And then I want to do an alignment after, so if I do the wishbones, then I don't have to pay for alignment before I change the wishbones and after, so it saves a bit of money there. Still move around a lot, so maybe the dampers are not all that either. Maybe the dampers have gone a bit soft. I do expect a bit more resistance from them, you know. I knew that when I was changing the springs anyway. I had a feeling that it might destroy the dampers anyway, from going from the previous experience with the Bilstein B8 and the putting the H&R on another car. So all in all, H&R solved the banging, solved the rubbing, or most of it, like 90% of the issue with the suspension. It's just raised it a little bit higher, a bit more resistance with the springs, and happy days. Hopefully in the next video, new clutch will be fitted, and then we can really explore the power of the car. If you want to see more videos on this project, subscribe to the channel, look after yourselves, and I'll see you again next time.